Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. We have some very important topics to hit today. We'll start with the most important one. Michigan takes care of Michigan State twice in baseball this weekend. What's your reaction to this?
I don't give a shit about baseball. Actually, I watched the college lacrosse game last night, and I was pretty impressed. I think I like college lacrosse more than college baseball, so I really don't give a shit.
How about the fact that Michigan got swept by Texas Tech in baseball and then lost to them in basketball? How about that, Chris? That's not the topic that's at hand right here, Luke. Let's stick to the topic. Guns up. Alex, what's your reaction to this very important story?
Well, I really don't care. That's my reaction.
I'll tell you what, two big wins for Michigan this weekend. It would have been three if they didn't get postponed today. But two big wins.
So you're telling me Michigan? You're telling me Michigan did not beat Michigan State today in baseball? You suck.
Great wins for Michigan. The Red Cheetah.
You want to know why Michigan didn't play Michigan State today? Because our field is in a freaking ditch, and it gets flooded every day. If it rains, it'll flood.
Oh, I just know that we swept you. Just a great performance here, and really, showing out. I know Michigan's a baseball school now, so big win. Okay, let's turn that music off, please. On the bank of the
No, this will be
Red
this will be looping the entire podcast.
Okay, well we're gonna move on to a little bit of a lesser story here. Michigan State defeats LSU and Duke to advance to the Final Four. What is your reaction to Michigan State advancing to the Final Four?
Yeah, you guys could go first.
Well, I mean, they played nobody on their way there. It's like Michigan last year. They literally had to play nobody. They played a team should have lost twice in Duke before getting to the Elite Eight. They should have lost to what was it, Virginia Tech and UCF. So yeah, it's a shame that the NCAA tournament is set up this way. It's a shame that Michigan State even has the opportunity to be in the Final Four.
Well said.
Yeah,
that was just
well said.
a cakewalk.
Yeah, I agree. Clearly a cakewalk. LSU, they didn't have their coach, so that's an easy win. Okay, they also pay their players a salary. That's true. Doesn't matter. Didn't have their coach. You played a 14-loss Bradley team in the first round. You played Richard Pitino's team in the second round.
Okay. Bradley was the best team we've played in this tournament, and I am dead serious. I am dead serious.
Bradley was the best team. It was an absolute cakewalk. Then you played the most overrated team in Division I, Duke. They've been overrated all season, and they laid another egg on the floor, and this time they actually played a team that was decent enough to take advantage of it. And Duke didn't get lucky this time. They did. Say what? Coach K ran out of money. He'd already paid off too much money for the UCF and the Virginia Tech games. As you saw on both of those plays, you could see the rim was shaking. You see that? But he ran out of money.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Nope. Couldn't pay for Duke to win this one. And now guess what? Michigan State gets the easiest Final Four in NCAA history.
Okay, so you're telling me I'm crazy that I think the world is flat, and now you're telling me Duke shakes the rim so that the other team can't score? Give me a fucking break.
Okay, yeah, but I'm joking. You're not.
No, you're not joking. I can tell you're not joking.
Okay. All right, Mike, you got to talk about your team?
Well, sure. I mean, what is there to talk about? We go to the Final Four so many times, so much, it just becomes,
I haven't been there since 2015.
It's like an annual thing. We go there every year. We go there every year, so it doesn't really, we expect to be there.
True.
8 times in 24 years, that's a 33% chance. And fun fact, that's actually higher than Luke's grade in math right now. So, yeah, I'll take that. You look, we only played 7 guys. Duke played 8. Ooh, Duke played 9 guys. Now, people thought we had the advantage on the bench, but we only played 7 guys. Really, they played 6. I mean, Gabe Brown played 3 minutes, but Nick Ward, 13 quality minutes off the bench. Really appreciated what he did. Couple missed layups, but, that hand's got to get better. I don't expect him to play at all against Texas Tech. I just don't think he matches up well with them. Cassius, I mean, what can you say? I mean, he only went 9 for 23 from the field, but when he needed a big shot from him, he made him. And, he was a little frustrated early, couldn't make some easy ones. But he orchestrated the offense, did a great job. McQuaid had a good game, 39 minutes, did as well as he could. 0 for 2 from the free throw line. That's a disgrace right there. He should be kicked off the team for that. Tillman, Tillman has become our second most important player. He is just, the progression from last year is it's insane. And he's definitely one of the best centers in the country. He's really shown him that. I thought he did a very good job against Zion. Once Zion had the ball in the post, there was no chance. But he did a great job denying the post. Aaron Henry, 38 quality minutes, played very well on defense. And big shot, Kenny Goins with a big shot. I mean, what did you expect? Of course, he was going to make a big shot at the end. We all know he can't make, easy, wide open shots, but he makes those tough ones when it really matters. He had a good game. 9 rebounds. Always expect Kenny Goins to rebound the basketball. For Duke, they played pretty well.
Okay.
No, they did. They shot the ball decent.
Duke did not play well. Michigan State played absolutely out of their minds in this game.
Okay, Duke.
Some of the shots they were making are just ridiculous.
But no, Duke shot 33% from 3, which is above their season average of like 28%. And they shot 46% from the field, so they played fine. I mean, the turnovers hurt them a lot.
Yeah, they kept turning the ball over. And Michigan State was making circus shots.
Okay, Matt McQuaid made a circus shot. Nobody else made a circus shot.
And then Goins made a circus shot.
What, a step back 3? He's been practicing those. What are you talking about?
Circus shot.
Or are you talking about that layup? That circus layup.
Game winner.
No, I don't mean the game winner. I mean the step back 3. If McQuaid doesn't make that shot, Michigan State loses.
Well, you could say if we didn't miss 6 free throws, we would have won by 10 points.
No, you can't say that. You can only say if McQuaid missed that shot, Michigan State loses.
Yeah, well, if we didn't miss 4 free throws, we would have won the game handily. I could easily just say that.
No, you can't say that.
I can say what the fuck I want to say.
If Duke didn't miss that free throw at the end, the game would still be going.
Well, he's a 6. No, you can't say that because he's a 60% free throw shooter.
Nope. If he had made that shot, and McQuaid missed, Duke would have blown the doors off Michigan State.
Well, Duke always chokes. I mean, you got to expect that. You got to expect him to miss a free throw.
That is so true. The Duke choke strikes again.
I mean, I just knew they were going to miss a free throw. I felt it. I felt like it was going to happen. And we definitely got lucky because Zion was he was using his fullback skills to fucking tackle Xavier Tillman on that second free throw. Would have easily pushed off. No call, got the rebound and laid it in. I have no doubt about it. Would have been a tie game. But luckily, the ball bounced in. And, and actually, the fact that Duke paid off the refs actually hurt them at the end. They only had 3 team fouls under a minute.
That's true.
So, sometimes, karma's a bitch. When you pay the refs, shit happens to you. So I don't feel bad about that at all. I actually thought Coach K had a very smart strategy to start the game. He started Alex O'Connell. Everybody thought that Cam Reddish was out. So, and he played the first 3 minutes, and then Cam Reddish played the final 37 minutes, and he didn't look like he was hurt at all. So I have no idea what the hell happened to him, but, he played okay. I think McQuaid did a very good job on him. Aaron Henry, both of them. McQuaid, first team All Big Ten defense, no doubt about it. He showed it. Tillman should have been on there too. But anyway, good win. Championship season. As we know, the Final Fours are championships at Michigan State.
No, the championship is the championship.
Nope.
Right.
8 Final Fours for Tom Izzo. I'm just not, but good win. A little lucky, but you got to get lucky sometimes. Definitely a better Final Four run than Michigan last year, who played absolutely nobody.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Well, when you
Mike,
you played an 8 seed. You played an 8 seed in the Elite Eight, and we played a 1 seed, and we beat them. So.
Well, the 8 seed that we played is better than the 1 seed that you played.
Okay, Leonard Hamilton, let's calm down.
Mike, how do you feel that you're the only person in the world that's more excited that Michigan State won than that Duke lost?
I mean, that's true. I don't deny that. I wasn't very surprised that the first thing ESPN wrote was a grade for Duke's season. They didn't even acknowledge that we beat them.
Honestly.
But that's fine. You got it.
I have Duke later in this on the storyline, but I'm going to grade for this Duke season as an F. Are you kidding me? You have 5 All-Americans in your roster. You're losing the Elite Eight.
They looked like
a joke of a season.
They looked like a team full of freshmen, and Coach K's too afraid to yell at them like Tom Izzo does. So they feel like they can do what the hell they want to do. Say what you want about Izzo. He gets into his guy's face because he wants to make them a better player. Coach K just sits there with a blank expression, doesn't do crap. Kind of like Brad Stevens.
All the recruits.
The Celtics should get Tom Izzo. He would talk some sense into people. He'd take people out if they weren't boxing out. I know nobody in the NBA boxes out anyway. Yep. The first article ESPN writes, takeaways from Duke's season-ending loss to Michigan State. So, whatever, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the Final Four. You never know. Izzo struggles there, but he's facing a first-time head coach. Actually, 3 first-time head coaches in the Final Four, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, seriously. I'll talk more about Duke in a later slide, but I'm just so they're one of the most underachieving teams in college basketball history. This loss. They
don't run an offense. If Zion went to Michigan State, you know what they do? They get it to him on the post every single possession, just like they tried to do with Nick Ward the past 5 years. All they do is, we got to get it into Nick Ward. We got to get it into Nick Ward. You got to get it into Zion every possession. And they don't even try to do that half the game. It's stupid.
Yes.
But,
I don't know which was worse, this or when Kentucky lost to Wisconsin a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Probably this one, because they had more talent.
I don't know.
Well, that was at least in the Final Four.
Okay, that Kentucky team had like 7 first-round picks.
That was at least in the Final Four. Duke lost the top 3 recruits.
That Kentucky team went 38-1. Congrats to Coach Izzo. Everybody was talking about his 1-11 record versus Coach K, and a lot of that was Duke has had better teams than Michigan State has over the years. But Izzo is now only 2-3 versus Duke in the tournament, which is respectable against Coach K. So, no.
It's a shame that he's going to be fired for yelling at his player at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, you got to coach him sometimes. Coach Wing yells at his players.
When he's sitting at home watching it, eating fucking popcorn because he was fired.
All right, I've had enough. With this.
All right, let's move on. Michigan ousted by Texas Tech in the Sweet 16. What's your reaction to this game, and how do you view Michigan's season?
What an embarrassing performance from Michigan. Just embarrassing the Big Ten. All us Big Ten fans, what we love to say, oh, we're the best conference in college basketball, and I thought we were. And then now we don't have an argument because Michigan absolutely laid an egg. I mean, come on. You can't lose by 30 points in a tournament game. That is just embarrassing.
They actually lost by 19. Yeah, thank God. Thank God Michigan State beat the best team in the country today. Okay. Duke is not the best team in the country. That is absurd.
It's Virginia, you're right.
No, it is not.
According to this argument, they are the best team in the country.
Well, no, Duke beat Virginia twice. So. Duke beat Virginia twice, so they have the...
Yeah, because one of the games they shot 70% from 3.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that game. Anyway, Michigan, bad season. To start out 17-0, and then it just seemed like they were, they peaked in November, which is the worst thing you can do. I was telling Chris all year long, you peaked in November. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna flip the switch, and they didn't flip the switch. They beat one of the worst basketball teams I've ever seen in Montana. And they beat an okay Florida team. They're okay, not great. And then they face a team that knows how to play defense. They've got probably a future Hall of Fame coach, the way he's started his career at Texas Tech. A guy who knows, the players he has. And John Beilein had zero answer for Texas Tech. Just Chris Beard coached laps around John Beilein in this game, and it was embarrassing for the Big Ten. And I was mad about that. I mean, at least keep it close. I mean, come on.
Alex?
That was tough to watch. I mean, 16 points in the... Listen, Texas Tech has the best defense in the country. No one's going to deny that.
No, Virginia.
Okay.
It's close.
Not close.
It's very close.
Okay. After this game...
They didn't have an answer. I mean, you go 1 for 19 from 3. I mean, you're not...
They
no
suck.
one's going to win that.
They're a terrible basketball team.
Well, I'm going to say 0 for 18 because that garbage time 3 doesn't really count.
It's like you lose to crappy Iowa, you lose to crappy Penn State, you lose to Michigan State, your rival, 3 times. I mean, it's embarrassing. The season is an embarrassment for Michigan.
Okay. As for this game, Texas Tech played really well, I thought, especially on the defensive end, obviously. I thought Michigan played pretty well on the defensive end, holding them to 63 points, that's fine. Offensively, honestly, Texas Tech played pretty well, but Michigan had the shot. And as we know, Michigan relies a lot on the three-point ball. And when you go 1 for 19 with your only 3 being with 3 seconds left by your walk-on off the bench, that's not a good recipe to win. I just think it was an off night, whatever, that happened.
And let's talk about one of the best, the greatest floor general in the history of college basketball, Xavier Simpson.
Okay, I'll get to that. Xavier Simpson, last year in the national championship game, did not play well.
I have a question. Question for Xavier Simpson. All they talk about is his hook shot, how great it is. Oh, he spent thousands of hours in the gym perfecting his hook shot. How about you perfect a jump shot? How about that? How about stop wasting your time with a stupid hook shot and learn how to shoot a jump shot, and maybe your team could actually win a big game? I mean, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You got this, why? Why are you perfecting this useless hook shot when you could actually try and shoot the ball better? And now
I think that's going to be a big key to his offseason. It's going to be a big key to his offseason. But we'll see what happens. He's going to show up in big games, and that's got to happen next year. As for the peak in November argument, here's why I disagree, and I'm starting to feel this. And I was disagreeing with you about North Carolina and Villanova. They were not very good teams at that time. I'm ready to admit that. Whatever. They look good on a resume going into a tournament, but
exactly.
17-0, you really didn't beat anybody in that 17-0 stretch. And then they came into Big Ten play, and I still think they were at their best in March. You just had an off
my
night
freaking God. Okay.
Off night against Texas Tech. Mental block against Michigan State. I'm not even going to call it a mental block. Just a terrible matchup against Michigan State.
Okay, that is a good point. I mean, all the Michigan fans point to that Purdue win. Well, half the players on Purdue in that game are not even in the rotation now. So that Purdue win doesn't mean crap.
Yeah.
Villanova.
So I just don't think they played anybody.
Yeah, and that's on John Beilein for scheduling this one of the softest schedules in college basketball.
As a whole, looking at the beginning of the season, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year of sorts.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a freaking break.
It was supposed to be a rebuilding year, and they finished in the Sweet 16. So if that's going to be the new rebuild at Michigan, I'm going to take that. And
this year,
I don't know what Matthews is going to do, but this team has the potential to return every single player from this team. And if everybody returns, they're going to have a really good chance of winning it all next year.
If everybody returns, Michigan State will still own Michigan because Charles Matthews bleeds green and white. Xavier Simpson bleeds green and white. Jordan Poole bleeds green and white. Iggy definitely bleeds green and white. I mean, might as well put on the MSU shirts and go play for the other team. I mean, if you're bringing back everybody, I mean, please.
So yeah, if everybody comes back, this team's going to have a really good chance to win it all, and they should have high expectations going into next season. Hopefully, if everybody comes back, they're going to be ranked in the top 7 to start next season.
Can we talk about this John Beeline, an offensive guru?
Okay.
Nobody can stop Michigan's offense. And what do? They put up 16 points in the first half. What an embarrassing coaching job.
John Beeline was not good in this game. But, every coach has an off game.
He was bad all season.
I honestly thought they got the shot.
He was terrible all year.
Make him.
He was bad all year. It was
That's not true.
His defensive coordinator, whatever the hell that guy's name was, has kept them in every game, and he hasn't done crap as a head coach.
Okay. All right, we're moving on. Chris, what? I don't know. I don't know what was a bigger letdown for Michigan this year. Their football team losing to Ohio State by 30, or their basketball team losing to Michigan State 3 times in 1 year. Well, you got to know. Okay, well, the basketball team is supposed to be rebuilding here. The football team was projected to win the Big Ten and make the playoff by a lot of people, and then you get blown up by Ohio State. So I'm going with the football team, coached by the worst coach in college football history. This team, it'd be hard being a Michigan fan. All you guys do is lose. Big game. The Final Four last year and next year. And
Final Four?
It's the Final Four and you lost. They get your hopes and they crush your dreams right in front of your eyes. Okay, well, in that case,
Chris.
You go into every single year in every single sport. Oh, we should be good this year. We should be good this year. They built a 17-0 run. I don't say that in football because then they crush your dreams and lose. The basketball team has not done that. They have never done that, and they won't do it next year because we're gonna have a run. And you were saying how great this team was going to be earlier in the year. We're gonna have Final Four expectations of basketball next year because next year is not a rebuilding year. And watch here.
No.
We're gonna lose. That's no expectation. Funny, and I'm gonna laugh. Okay.
I'm not hearing the stupid rebuilding year excuse because Michigan State lost 2 lottery picks and Tum Tum Nairn. They didn't miss a beat. They actually got better.
You didn't play one of them
All right,
in the tournament.
hold on. Tum Tum Nairn, don't give me that.
And Gavin Schilling. Can't forget about Gavin Schilling. And Ben Carter. Ben Carter, can't forget about him.
Bridges made you worse. And we know that, what's his face there? Jaron Jackson doesn't even play at the end of the game. So that didn't really matter.
Yeah, because he fouled out every game.
Okay. All right.
No, you'd rather say Ben Carter, so.
Oh, well, Ben Carter was a terrific player, 6th-year senior.
Great passer.
I know. Unfortunately, he couldn't shoot to save his life, but great passer. And I have a question. How come, Teskey, all we talk about is, Teskey. Oh, Teskey's got a jump shot now. And then Xavier Tillman. Nobody talks about Xavier Tillman's jumper. It's absolute money. Tom Izzo just knows how to develop his players, and John Beeline sucks at it. So,
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, 453rd best recruit in this class, 4-year starter at Michigan.
Kenny Goins, a 5th-year walk-on, just hit the game-winning shot in the Elite Eight.
Kenny Goins is going to be an NBA player. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he was developed into an NBA player. He was a football player coming out of high school.
Nope.
Okay.
NBA talent. Because Tom Izzo gets all the talent, all the recruits.
That is that is ridiculous.
Tom Izzo gets all the top recruits, and by the time they leave college, the Michigan players are better.
Oh, so you're telling me Xavier Simpson's better than Cassius Winston? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, okay.
Are you telling me Junior Matthews is better than freshman Henry? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely absurd. Matthews, who chokes in every big game, and Aaron Henry, who shows up at every big game.
Okay, that's absurd. He was our leading scorer in the tournament last year, so on our national championship run.
None of those games are big when you're playing 9 seeds in the Sweet 16. Give me a break.
That 9 seed is better than Duke.
That's like us playing Ohio State in the freaking Sweet 16. I mean, give me a fucking break.
All right, let's move on to the conference scoreboard. And other than Michigan and Michigan State, Purdue is the only team on here. They defeated Tennessee in overtime 99-94 and lost to Virginia 80-75. I believe that game was in overtime too. Reaction to what Purdue did in this tournament?
I'm happy. I'm happy for Matt Painter. He could never get over that Sweet 16 hump. He's been there a couple times, but really couldn't get over it. And I really felt for him after that loss last night. They had it at the end, and Virginia just Virginia was clutch at the end of the game, and that was a clutch missed free throw by Ty Jerome.
And the big man made a clutch play. Every other player in Virginia was trying to lose. Ty, victorious Joker, was trying to lose.
Yeah, Chris with his ridiculous arguments.
You can't accept that they're good, can you?
They're great players. Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy are great players. But at the end of the game, they went out very good last night.
Yeah, that's why Kyle Guy went like 75% from three in that game.
Well, he wasn't very good at the end of the game. He's a great player, but he's not very good. He wasn't very good at the end of the game.
Anyway, Virginia, I would say, they are one of the teams at the top. Probably Michigan State and then them to win the national championship. It's really close. They're a really good basketball team. Purdue, like I said, I felt bad for them, but Carson Edwards had a chance at the end, and he threw the ball away. And, a great tournament by Carson Edwards. We haven't seen that in the regular season. I know everybody wants to crown him and say he's the greatest player of all time, but he just got hot. He could have a 6 for 31 performance in one of these games, and Purdue would get blown out because he takes all the shots. That 6 for 31 against Minnesota, at the end of the regular season cost them a Big Ten championship outright. So, we've seen the good and we've seen the bad from him, and I will give him credit. He plays at his best in the tournament. Going back to last year, he was really good in the tournament last year as well. So, very good season for Purdue. Purdue was on a rebuilding year. A real rebuilding year. They lost like 15,000 points or something crazy from their team last year. And all they did was win. And they beat Chris's beloved Tennessee team. So.
Yes, Mike, I was going to basically say the exact same thing as you. What a season for Purdue. This was a rebuilding year for Purdue. The only team in the Big Ten who had a true rebuilding year. And they just got it done. They did not care. Everyone said that they were going to have a big rebuilding year. It was going to be next year was their year. They did not care. Carson Edwards took over the tournament. Probably the best player in the tournament so far. He also is streak, he could have easily gone 1 for 80. He will just keep him. But 1 year for Purdue. They were easily the biggest surprise in the Big Ten.
I think they exceeded expectations for sure, and I think they did get a little lucky during the tournament. Well, when you play the biggest chokers in the tournament in Tennessee, it's not.
Yeah, you get lucky playing the national champions in the second round. Really lucky.
Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know what that. And they also played. They had a second goal. They played the biggest choker in the Elite Eight, too. The biggest choker. Absolutely the biggest choker. And they lost. So.
Virginia made all the clutch plays at the end of that game. They are no longer a choking program. They have learned how to win. And they will...
Mike is trying to tell you that Virginia was going to win the national championship this year, and you just have to beat us. What? You just have to beat Mike and I. If you're trying to tell you it's going to win the national championship, and you just refuse to believe it. Okay, and I still refuse to believe it.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're like, Chris is like, Mike, how dare you have Virginia in the Final Four? How dare you? They choke every year. But let me put Marquette, who hasn't been in the tournament in about 5 years, as my national champion.
Chris, for the pool group, you're in last place there.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that.
I did see that.
You picked Tennessee.
Well, I'll get to Tennessee here in a second. Great season for Purdue. Great
Why
winning.
did you pick Tennessee?
Great win over Tennessee. They beat the best team in the country there.
Oh my God, that is
Ryan-
ridiculous. Tennessee choked that game away at the end. So
No,
badly.
they didn't.
So
Ryan
badly.
Klein and Carson Edwards were unbelievable. Great win. And then, I don't know how Purdue choked that game away against Virginia. Both teams really trying to out-choke each other. Great battle of two choking teams, and Virginia got it done.
Yep. That sounds like every game Michigan plays. Both teams are trying to out-choke each other when they play Michigan.
All right, let's move on to the other Final Four teams. We'll start with Texas Tech. A surge by Gonzaga to advance. Oh, by the way, the Gonzaga choke occurred to advance to their first Final Four in school history. What's your reaction to Texas Tech run to the Final Four?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I just think Gonzaga had too much talent. If that makes any sense, they just had too much talent. They didn't mesh very well. Josh Perkins is a good point guard. I don't think he's a great one. He doesn't make the crucial passes that you need. Like, if Gonzaga had Cassius Winston, they'd be 38-0 right now in the Final Four. But, Josh Perkins, they need somebody like that. They didn't get it from him. Inserting Tilly back into the lineup kind of messed up their chemistry. Tilly, not a great defender. Texas Tech kind of picked on him. And Derek Culver, who is one of the best players in the country, he had a good game. Davide Meretier, I call him Mussolini because, a great player. Does a lot for that team, makes threes. He's their Matt McQuaid. You can't leave him open. He'll make you pay. And I think Texas Tech is a top 5 coach in the country, Chris Beard. And, I didn't feel like Mark Few got out-coached at the end. Okay, Josh Perkins did choke that by, trying to steal it away from the inbounder. That was one of the dumbest plays I think I've ever seen. But, Mark Few put his team in position to win, and they just, they were outplayed by a team that plays great defense and made shots. So, congratulations to Texas Tech. They'll be a very tough matchup for us in the Final Four.
This is one of the craziest games I've ever watched. Both teams going back and forth, but I think Texas Tech deserved it. They have a great defense. And Culver's nasty. He'll probably end up being a lottery pick. But I think Texas Tech did deserve it. Get your guns up. Bang, 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 bang.
No, they have the best defense in the tournament remaining.
Great take.
What?
Great take.
I'm not done. And, no, they just made shots when they had to. Culver is a top 10 pick. And there was no Gonzaga. How can you say you can choke when you make it to the Elite Eight?
No,
Yeah.
the Gonzaga choke occurred.
Yeah, both teams tried to out-choke each other at the end, Texas Tech and Gonzaga, and just Gonzaga choked more.
No, Coach Beard has transformed that program completely, and I think they're going to give MSU fits. I think they match up really well with them, and I think it'll be interesting.
I think Texas Tech, unbelievable season. Finished 7th in the Big 12, all the way to the Final Four. Incredible job by Chris Beard. But what a gag job by Gonzaga. Look at all the talent on that team. Are you kidding me?
I told you. They had too much talent. I told you.
They have so much talent on that team. To lose,
Duke has so much talent, and they still lost. What's your point?
No, Duke and Gonzaga are the two most underachieving teams in this year.
Okay, Duke has the biggest drop-off in talent I think I've ever seen. They got, 5 really good players, the freshmen, and then you got Jack White as the 6th best player.
He's so bad. Have you ever seen him make a 3 this year?
Yes, in November. He almost made one today. It rattled in and out.
He takes 5 a game and never makes them. I don't understand. Duke just loves to shoot threes, and they shoot they're one of the worst teams in the country at shooting threes, and they just jack them up all game.
Talk about a team that peaked in November. Duke peaked on the first game of the season. So that's bad.
Yes. All right.
They peaked during that Canada tour.
Let's move on to UVA. They advanced their first Final Four since 1984. UVM? We're moving on to UVM? First Final Four since 1984, surprising considering they're like a 1 seed every year, but they gag every year. So thrilling win over Purdue. What's your reaction to UVA finally getting to the Final Four?
Very happy for Tony Bennett. I think he's one of the good guys in college basketball. He's so likable, and his team is so likable. Besides the fact that they lose to 16 seeds, Kyle Guy is one of the most likable players in the NCAA. The way he treats other teams. They're a very good team, very athletic. Talk about last year, they lost Hunter, and that's why they lost in the first game. They lost DeAndre Hunter, and it cost them, unlucky with injuries last year. This year, they haven't been unlucky. Everybody's back, and they're a very good basketball team.
They lose in the first round of a 16 seed. Let's relax.
No, they lost their best player. That's why they lost last year. Listen, we can talk about how much of a choker Tony Bennett is, but he's just gotten unlucky in the tournament. I mean, let's be honest with you. You can't blame him for losing to Michigan State twice in the tournament a couple years ago. You can't blame them. 2 years in a row they lost to Michigan State. You can't really blame them. Getting outcoached by Tom Izzo is not a bad thing. And losing to Syracuse, Jim Boeheim, that happens. It's fine. Other great coaches have lost to Boeheim. And losing to Florida, that was a rebuilding year for Virginia when they lost to Florida. And then last year, they really haven't choked much. I mean, we act like they choke every year. Last year they did choke. This year they're in the Final Four for a reason because they are one of the top 2 teams in the country. And, it's funny how all of Chris's teams did not make it farther than the team he said was the worst in the country. So I find that pretty funny.
Yeah, Virginia, last year they just ran into a buzzsaw that was UMBC. Got unlucky. And they should have just coming back to prove why they're the best team in the world. Best basketball team in the world.
Yep, I will agree. They are the best basketball team in the country.
In the world.
All right, I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
I guess Cambridge University has an argument, but.
Well, I know Chris is going to love this. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this. But, what a performance. They come back, after last year's pretty embarrassing loss. And they make it to the Final Four with one of the best coaches in the country. And
the best coach in the country.
Yes, that's true. And they play defense, they grind out wins. And I don't think they're going to have a problem with Auburn. They're going to slow them down and control their backcourt. And I definitely foresee them in the national championship game.
I will say I was very impressed with Virginia's run, even though they didn't have a very easy road until the Elite Eight. They played 12 seeds in the Sweet 16. So, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
The Final Four.
Oh yeah. Michigan played like a 16 seed in the Final Four. Let's talk about Virginia's road to the Final Four.
No, it's fine. Whatever. They're in the Final Four. Congratulations to them. Mike is right. Tony Bennett, very likable. The team is very likable. So I'm happy for Virginia.
Except to you.
No, I'm happy for Virginia. But that said, I know the Virginia is coming.
Shall we take a look at Chris's bracket here?
No, we're not.
You have them losing to Ole Miss. So, that's enough of you.
Okay, yeah, I think we should move on.
That's enough of you.
No, the Virginia choke is coming sometime in this Final Four. It will come.
You're going to say that they're going to win the national championship, and there's still going to be a choke coming.
So, yeah, this is like Chris saying Gonzaga loses in the national championship game by 5 points. Oh, the Gonzaga choke has finally come.
They choked that game away.
And then Michigan gets blown out by 30 points in the national championship. Oh, great season. That's not a choke by Michigan at all.
Okay, all right. Well, we didn't have the game in our grasp, and we played one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time.
Okay, so you're telling me that makes it better that you got blown out than you lost by 5?
Yes.
Oh, give me a break. So I guess Gonzaga should have got blown out by 40, and then it wouldn't be a choke.
All right, let's move on. Auburn, who, according to Luke, is not a tournament team, Reaching the Final Four in school history by stunning Kentucky today. Reaction. Well, Coach Cal, still the best coach in the nation. Auburn's still not a tournament team. War Eagle. That's all I got to say. War Eagle.
Yeah. Yeah, Coach Calipari has really fallen off a cliff here the past couple of years. You know, he had that stretch where he made 4 Final Fours in 5 years. He's really fallen off since then. Anyways, you know, he had De'Aaron Fox, couldn't get it done then. Last year, he had the wide open path to the Final Four, lost to Bruce Weber in Kansas State. And this year, he plays the team that he beat twice in the regular season and plays them in the championship. And, you know, Kentucky fans were like, oh, you know, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. You know, it really is, except for the fact that Michigan State beat their rival 3 times and beat Ohio State 3 times. So, you know. Anyways, you know, good team, Auburn. You know, they shoot the 3 well. They play good defense. And they're clutch at the end of games. Gotta give Bruce Pearl credit. I know this will probably get vacated because he's one of those coaches that you just, you know, you take the scandal for a Final Four run. You know, he'll find a way to get, you know, whatever. He probably paid somebody to go there, you know, but, you know, whatever. They're still in the Final Four right now. But yeah, good win over Kentucky, but Kentucky, you know, they just choke in the Elite Eight in the Sweet 16 every year. And Calipari needs to be fired because he's a colossal waste of money. He's a terrible coach and a great recruiter.
He's the best coach in the NCAA. It's not even close.
Nope, you can't get out-coached by Bruce Pearl in a big game. You can't do it.
Yeah, he gets all recruits, right? Every single year, his team's freshmen. Incredible turnover, and every single year, he makes a run in the tournament.
No, what about last year?
The only thing that you can say about Coach Cal, what he does well, is that he brings out NBA players.
No, what he does well is getting out-coached in big games. That's what he does really well. Got out-coached by Kevin Ollie in the national championship. I don't even know.
Don't go there. Kevin Ollie's a great coach.
I don't even know where Kevin Ollie is right now. He's probably like Division III.
Kevin Ollie is a fantastic basketball.
No, he's putting a lawsuit against UConn.
I'm pretty sure I saw Kevin Ollie at a USM game for an opposing team. So, you know, he's just not a good coach. He doesn't know how to put his kids in the right situations. I think Tom Izzo, Mark Few, and Chris Beard are probably the best X's and O's coaches in the country. They put their kids in the situations to win. John Beeline's in the top 30 when it comes there. You know, he's up there. He's in the top 10%. But, you know, coaches like Coach K, you know, Calipari, it doesn't even look like they're coaching out there. You know, I don't know what the hell Duke does on offense. I don't know what Kentucky was doing at the end of the game against Auburn. And then you got Calipari coming out in the press conference saying a bunch of smug stuff like, oh, I fully expected us to win the game, and then we didn't win it. Well, that's you know why you didn't win it?
He's the fuck-up person I have ever seen.
Yeah, you know why you didn't win it, Calipari? Because of you. Look in the mirror. You didn't put your kids in a good situation to win. It's embarrassing.
So, he's throwing out 17, 18-year-old kids playing against 21, 22-year-old men. You kidding me? The fact that they made the Elite Eight is all credit to him.
What about NBA talent?
I'm not convinced on Auburn yet.
If they're playing in the NBA in the next year, they're obviously talented enough to compete with these teams.
Nope, you're wrong.
Okay, then.
Okay. Alex, what do you have to say?
I'm not convinced yet. I don't think... No, I'm serious. Yeah. I don't think they're...
Yeah, they have a South Carolina feel to them, for me. A couple years ago when South Carolina made the Final Four.
Yes, exactly. They win a couple games, and then they just don't know. They're not good enough. And I don't know how to say the guy's name, but the guy they lost to the ACL, I think will be big.
Oh, Okiki.
I think Virginia's going to slow it down and lock up their backcourt because they want to get out and run. As long as UVA can control the pace, I don't think they're going to have any problem taking them down. And Bruce Pearl's just...
Bruce Pearl, I will give him credit. He is the best cheerleader I've ever seen. Bruce Pearl. Great cheerleader.
Bruce Pearl was very good today. Great. I was shocked that it'd be Kentucky. Calipari embarrassed.
I mean, it happens to Calipari every year. Every year he has a wide open lane to the Final Four, and he finds a way to screw it up. He did last year.
Unless he has the 8
complains about his lane to the Final Four first, and then he has a wide open lane.
He's like, yeah, we got to play Kansas State and then Loyola. Oh, come on, man. That's a tough stretch right there. Then loses to Kansas State.
Then they win. Then they win with an 8 seed. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
That is true. He does do well with the lower seeds. I will give him credit for that.
Well, Aaron Harrison carried him that year. We know that.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Calipari does with Michigan. Oh, we're coming up against a great Northwestern team tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be and then the next day, after you beat them by 40, you come out and say, what a great win against a great Northwestern. I'm saying how good they were, and we came out and we showed why we're good. That's all you do. Okay. Well, I will say, Auburn, the main reason Auburn is here is because of the Jared Stidham effect. Oh, give me a break. That is your main reason why Auburn is in the Final Four. And Jared Stidham effect having a big effect on the team.
No, it's the Calipari choke effect that was bigger.
Nothing beats that.
Okay. Let's move on to some other storylines. North Carolina goes down. We already talked about Carson Edwards. We talked about Tennessee. A lot of thrillers in the Elite Eight. And you can talk more about Duke being overrated if you want. But what do you have to say about some of these storylines from the second weekend here?
Yeah, I'll just go down the list here. I've never bought into North Carolina fully. I know a lot of people did. I saw their game against Michigan. I saw them get just completely exposed by Michigan. I know that was early in the season, but still, they got exposed by a terrible basketball team early in the year. They beat Duke twice, but let's be honest, Duke is just not even close to the same team without Zion Williamson. If they didn't have Zion today, it would have been a 10-plus point win for Michigan State. Zion kept them in the game. So, how much credit do you give them for that? That's the real question. They lost to Virginia at home, so that was another team they played that, they're good, but not great. They did beat Gonzaga early in the year. That was a good win, although that did come at home. It seems like all their big wins came at home. There were times that they just struggled. They lost to Louisville by 20. It just looked like they didn't have it. There was something wrong about this team. I couldn't really put my finger on it. And they just didn't show up in the Sweet 16. Auburn exposed them. They couldn't shoot, and once again, they didn't play defense. It seemed like they didn't want to play defense against Auburn, and it cost them. And, Carson Edwards, yeah, we already talked about him. Tennessee sucks. I'm not really going to talk about them. They don't deserve to be talked about. Duke, they were overrated. They were still a really good team. Zion made them a top 10 team by himself. But without him, they were not even a top 30 team. The Elite Eight games were good. Made up for some, pathetic early round games. That's all I'm going to say.
This tournament so far has been a joke. It might be the worst tournament in recent memory. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no upsets. It's embarrassing. Horrible job. Absolutely rigged by the NCAA again.
Just one of the best. I'm sure this Final Four will get a lot of ratings. Just 4 blue bloods. Everybody wants to watch.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this: the Final Four that was on TBS last year will have had more ratings than the one that's on CBS.
Okay, here's what I'll tell you: the ticket prices went down by like 1,000% now that Duke's not in it. So people are gonna be happy about that. But I don't even know if
Kansas and Michigan in the same Final Four last year, and now what do you have? You have Michigan State and 3 teams who haven't been there since the 1980s.
Okay, Villanova does not have a fan base. Can we calm down with them? And
yes, they do.
Okay, Kansas does, and Loyola Chicago, great fan base. Sister Jean is their fan base. And Michigan, we all know, doesn't give a shit about basketball. So.
It's true.
Yeah, North Carolina, I was shocked that North Carolina lost. Are we going to be talking about Ohio State's synchronized swimming team winning their 32nd national championship? No.
No, we deserve to talk about that.
No. 32nd championship. That's more games than Michigan won this year. I was shocked. But they lost, but, they laid an egg. And you have to play some semblance of defense to have a chance to win, and they didn't. And Duke, they're the most overrated team of all time. I'm ready to say that.
I'm ready to say North Carolina was more overrated than Duke.
Okay. I will too. And I was very happy with the Elite Eight games. Great games. Even if I was rooting for the other team, it was still fun to watch. And Mike's right, it made up for some bad games at the beginning. All right. Let's move into the picks. I haven't updated these. I will before the national championship game. How many? 8, 9, 10? What? How many picks do we have today? Like 4. Oh. All right. We'll start with the first NIT semifinal. Oh, boy. Wichita State versus Lipscomb.
I watched, Wichita State go into Indiana and win something Michigan State couldn't do. Just a great environment in Indiana. Lipscomb, I saw them beat NC State. They have this one guy, I forgot his name, but he's nasty.
Harrison Matthews.
Matthews, yes, he's nasty. Better than Charles Matthews, definitely. I think Greg Marshall will get his guys ready to go. He's a great tournament coach. Doesn't matter which tournament it is. I'm taking Wichita State. Give me Wichita State.
I'm not going to lie. If the NCAA wanted to make something interesting, they should have the NIT happen a week before the NCAA tournament, and the winner gets the last spot in the tournament. But I guess in this game I'll go with Lipscomb.
Yeah, I don't know how they would make that work.
You can't bet against Greg Marshall, so I'm going to take Wichita.
Excuse me?
He's got a point.
One
He's
of
got
the
a point.
coaches of our generation.
Oh, okay.
He's got a Final Four.
He's up there with Jay Wright.
Okay.
Listen,
okay.
no. That's like somebody winning a national championship at Maine going to the Final Four at Maine. He went to a Final Four at Wichita State. I mean, give me a break here.
But Greg Marshall's one of the biggest chokers in all college basketball.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he gets zero talent.
Which is the single reason why I'm going with Lipscomb in this game. Okay. Big rivalry game in the second NIT semifinal. Texas at TCU.
Yeah, I don't know why people, I don't know why Texas fans aren't hyped about this. They're in the Final Four. And they could claim the national championship if they win this, just like Michigan does. Michigan claims their 1999 NIT championship as a national championship. They actually have a banner for it, which is just embarrassing. But, Jamie Dixon won it 2 years ago. I can't bet against the winningest head coach in Big East history. I'm going with TCU.
Okay, cool. Hook 'em.
Got me.
Last time Shaka Smart was in a Final Four, he lost. And he's going to lose again to the more important Final Four. And TCU should have made the tournament, so I'm going to take them.
Okay. I'm going to go with Texas because they've actually won a big game this year, and I'm like TCU.
TCU beat Iowa State twice.
Well, that's not a big game.
Oh, and TCU lost to Lipscomb earlier this year. They could avenge that in the NIT championship.
Sure, okay, cool. Welcome. All right. Oh, big game here. CBI championship, best 2 out of 3. It's South Florida and from the Big East, DePaul. Who you got?
So, we got the worst postseason tournament. This is equivalent to like the Dollar General Bowl. Nobody gives a crap.
I'll be watching. It's on ESPNU. I will definitely be watching these games.
Oh, okay.
I would rather watch college lacrosse in this game. I really like college lacrosse, but we should talk about it. Great sport. But I'm gonna have to go with South Florida because they're the better team. From a better conference. I'm gonna take the team from the better conference, UCF.
Okay.
USF.
You've gone off the rails.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right, that's a no pick from Luke. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm taking South Florida. Oh, Chris, come on. Chris took the other team, so I'm taking South Florida.
Yep, I hate the Big East, so I'm taking South Florida.
Give me a break. Okay. DePaul is going to win this.
They were a 10 seed in the Big East tournament.
And they're winning this easy. DePaul is nasty from the Big East. And, they have a chance for a national championship here in this game. If they win, they are the national champions. Yeah. The only tournament the Big East can win is the Big East tournament and the CBI. Well, the CBI is a very important tournament. This is the tournament Nevada should have been in, the CBI.
No, I think they were good enough for the CIT, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, but I'm going with DePaul because I like the Big East.
Yeah, well, DePaul has made one tournament in 20 years.
Well, they're going back next year because all 10 teams are making it next year.
Are we talking about Fred Hoiberg?
No.
Oh, ridiculous.
Because I was going, because next week when we have our recap of the national championship, I was going to put all the coaching hirings into one slide.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Time for some Big Four bracket fun.
No.
Who will beat who in the national championship?
We're going straight to the national championship? What the hell?
Okay, fine. Who will win the Michigan State-Texas Tech game?
Michigan State will win by a couple points. I think, they're a easier matchup to play against than Duke. Duke plays a good man defense, and they play very similar defense to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is better at that defense, but, their offense, our defense matches up pretty well with their offense, in my opinion. I think Michigan State will win that.
I think both defenses are very good, but I think Culver's going to be the difference, and I take Texas Tech.
I'm going to take Michigan State. I just think they're going to make their run this year has been incredible. I really like Texas Tech. Michigan State's going to win. Yeah, I think Culver's going to get Michigan State fit because they don't have anybody to guard him. But
Matt McQuaid, hello?
No, he's not big enough.
What do you mean he's not big enough? Jared Culver's 6'5", Matt McQuaid's 6'5". What are you talking about?
Nope, bigger wingspan.
Oh, give me a break.
But that being said,
Cam Reddish is 6'10", and he guarded him.
Yeah, well, Cam Reddish doesn't go to the basket. He just sits in the three-point line.
Yeah, well, Cam Reddish doesn't have the wingspan that Jared Culver has.
But I'm still going to Michigan State because teams that make the Final Four for the first time don't win. Okay.
So you're telling me that both Virginia and Auburn will lose? Is that what you're telling me?
No, Virginia has been to the Final Four before.
In freaking 1984.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Who will win, Virginia or Auburn?
Yeah, I got Virginia by 12 or 13. I think Auburn will they have to cool down, don't they? I mean, they play good defense, but I think Virginia will win it handily to get to the national championship game.
Yeah, Virginia is just, Auburn is just not a tournament team, which is why I'm going to go with Virginia.
Yep. Virginia is far and away the better team. And, it's not really even close. Auburn will cool down, and they are not a tournament team, as Luke says, so I would take Virginia.
Well, I'm going with Auburn in a blowout for two reasons. Number one, the Virginia choke.
Oh, yes, the Virginia choke as they're in the Final Four.
Yep, Virginia choke. joke. And number 2, and more importantly, the Jarrett Stidham effect. Okay. Isn't he gone now? Like he's not taking classes anymore. It doesn't matter. It's still a Jarrett Stidham effect. Just like in Oklahoma State, it's still the Mason Rudolph effect.
Well, I don't think Jarrett Stidham was invited to the combine, so he wasn't good enough.
Well, doesn't matter. All right. Ohio State in football this year will be winning because of the Tate Martell effect. Just a little tease. Yeah.
What about the Brian Lewerke effect?
Okay, well, Brian Lewerke sucks, so.
That's absurd.
Okay. Who will win the national championship?
I said a couple weeks ago I had Michigan State over Virginia in the national championship. I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to stick with the exact same score. Michigan State 68-58 winning the national championship.
I really like Michigan State. I'm hoping they win. I was hoping they were losing, and then everyone got on Tom Izzo for yelling at his players, so I hope they win. But I'm going to take Virginia because it'll piss Chris off more.
Yep, I also have Virginia, and I actually do have them in my bracket. Chris had Tennessee, by the way. Let's keep that in mind.
Chris had What about Marquette? What happened to them?
Yeah, well, if you don't talk about that.
All in your Elite Eight.
You see?
All right, I'm going with Michigan State. That's all I have to say. Okay. We will try to get back before the
We will
national
recap
championship
we will be back Tuesday night to recap the NIT championship. We'll see who wins. We'll be back for that.
We'll be back to recap the CBI championship.
The what now?
The CBI championship.
Never heard of her.
Okay. We'll try and get back before the national championship game next week. But if not, go Auburn. Rooting for the Jarrett Stidham effect. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week.
Michigan sucks.
Amen.